According to recent sources, the scandal exposed in this film could fundamentally upend British politics. Keir Starmer and the government are accused of withholding critical information regarding the drastic mishandling of asylum seeker treatment. We are discussing the disclosed budget, which reveals overspending on asylum seekers, almost 23 times the allocated amount, even as homelessness among British citizens remains an ongoing crisis. As the cost of living skyrockets, we'll also discuss anticipated tax rises and their implications for you while reviewing current events. The Centre for Fiscal Studies recently published a damning report. It accuses the Home Office of grossly mismanaging its asylum seeker procedures, with an expenditure 23 times higher than the approved budget. Over the last 3 years, the Home Office had allocated £1.1 billion annually for refugee processes, but ended up spending a staggering £22.6 billion each year. A study by the Centre for Out-of-Work Migration Control further highlights the cost burden on taxpayers, estimating that migration costs £8.5 billion per year. How does this impact the average British citizen already struggling with rising living expenses and homelessness? Let's dig deeper. Picture this. While the Home Office wastes billions on asylum seekers, British citizens are left homeless. Local governments are struggling to meet housing demands. Where is the accountability? Why are our leaders not addressing this? With the looming autumn budget and the certainty of tax increases, it's clear that priorities are dangerously misplaced. Keir Starmer, embroiled in controversy, stands accused of neglecting to manage the country's finances effectively. Research shows that middle-class earners will be hit hardest this fiscal year, with no relief promised on national insurance or VAT. Meanwhile, wage growth is set to stagnate, and living standards will plummet further. The poorest, already struggling to make ends meet, will suffer the most. The forecast is bleak. An additional 400,000 children could fall into poverty if no action is taken. Adding to the grim picture, the government's decision to complicate the process for pensioners to claim winter fuel compensation is alarming. Elderly people now face a daunting 22-page form with 243 questions to access this vital support. For many, this form is not just intimidating, it is an unnecessary obstacle to getting the help they need to stay warm. Now consider the consequences. A difficult application process could prevent a large portion of eligible pensioners from receiving their winter fuel reimbursements, pushing them into financial hardship as they struggle to cover rising energy costs. In another contentious move, the government is contemplating a smoking ban in public spaces like sports stadiums, pub gardens, and parks. While some argue this is a necessary public health measure, others see it as a step toward an overbearing nanny state. This policy could have severe implications for the hospitality sector, potentially driving many pubs and restaurants out of business. The proposed smoking ban is not just about reducing smoking-related illnesses. It reflects a growing tendency toward excessive government control. Raising taxes on tobacco products is also likely to fuel the illegal cigarette market, empowering criminal gangs who exploit such opportunities. Meanwhile, as the October 30th budget approaches, many fear tax hikes and cuts to essential public services. The government's so-called £22 billion black hole has become a smokescreen for deeper financial strategies. New taxes, spending cuts, and reductions in public services are expected to hit middle-class individuals hardest. Council tax is also expected to rise as local councils scramble to cover financial deficits. Homeowners and renters alike will be impacted as local services like waste collection and street maintenance come under strain. Tenants may bear the brunt as landlords pass these costs on, making housing even less affordable. The consequences of the government's budget priorities are far-reaching. We can expect cuts to critical public services, such as reduced police presence, fewer school resources, and longer wait times for health services. Communities will feel the pinch, with rising council taxes exacerbating already steep living costs. Amidst this financial mismanagement, another urgent crisis is unfolding: the surge of illegal migrant crossings. In 2024 alone, over 2,000 migrants have crossed the channel, overwhelming our border control systems and adding immense pressure to public services. This isn't just a statistic, it's a growing crisis with serious consequences for the nation. Critics, including Nigel Farage, accuse Keir Starmer of failing to act decisively on this issue. Farage argues that the lack of response from the government signals a dangerous message. The borders are open, encouraging more illegal crossings. The financial burden on taxpayers continues to rise as billions are spent managing this influx. At the same time, housing and public security concerns grow. Uncontrolled migration risks increasing crime rates and social tensions, particularly in communities already struggling. As we face the coming months, it's clear that government inaction and misplaced priorities have placed the country in a precarious position. Without a clear plan, these crises will continue to worsen, affecting every aspect of British life, from finances to national security.